This is a shot of our raised bed garden in its first year of growing right around mid to late summer. What the video doesn't show are all those great vegetables that we have underneath that canopy of bright green leaves. Hi, welcome back to Tim's Homework. In this quick video, we're going to guide you through some of the steps in picking and choosing what you want to plant in your first year raised bed garden, and then show you the process of planting these vegetables loosely following the 1-foot gardening technique. So grab a cup of coffee and let's get our homework done. And stick around to the end where I'm going to walk through some of the things that worked well and some of the things that didn't work so well in our garden, and maybe they'll help you through some of the choices you make in yours. There's a number of ideas on how you choose what you want to plant in your first year garden. And really it comes down to what do you like? What are the vegetables you buy? What are the vegetables that you cook? You're somewhat limited in a smaller space, and sometimes it's better to pick less for your first shot, just so you see what works and what doesn't. Some people go with just like a general across the board vegetable type garden. Then there's some people that have actually utilized their gardens for specialties. You've got like maybe a salad garden where you have some lettuce, maybe some radishes, some onions, some tomatoes, or a really cool idea sounds like a salsa garden where you have, again, some tomatoes and maybe some jalapenos and cilantro and onions, stuff like that. Anyway, what we've chose to do is just a kind of a general across the board variety of different produce that we use quite a bit in our cooking. Just again, the first year to figure out really what works in our area. We're gonna end up planting our garden a little tighter than a traditional garden. We get that opportunity being up off the ground. There's less pests, so we get better airflow and stuff like that. We still want to make sure that there's plenty of light, and that with the airflow, you end up getting everything dried out when you have watering and rain and stuff like that. The plants we chose to put in were a couple different varieties of cucumbers, some different tomatoes, some peppers, jalapenos. We have some peas. We had some lettuce. It's really turned out great. And we had some carrots and radishes, some beets. And then the star really turned out to be the summer squash and the zucchini. One of the funny things coming up in the video is I make the mistake of calling the radishes beets as I'm going through, and it turned out I actually ended up planting beets in their place, which totally ended up different than I expected. So we had a lot of beets the first year. The second year I ended up switching it out and putting in the radishes, and they actually grew the way they're supposed to quick. We had them and they were done, and then it freed up space for the rest of the plants to grow. So in the rest of this video, we're going to guide you through the actual planting process. And then in one of the next videos coming up, I split out a seasonal tour showing how our garden grew over the first year. You can kind of see how we did some of the pruning for the tomatoes, how we ended up tying them to the trellis, and some of the thinning out we did with the rest of our vegetables. So again, at the end, we're going to go through some of the good points and the bad points of our first year. But for now, let's just jump right into it. The layout method we're going to use loosely follows the 1-foot gardening technique. And in this space, you basically chop up your garden space into 1-foot sections and put maybe 1 or 2 plants depending on their size in each section. In our northern climate, we end up putting the taller plants in the north side and gradually got shorter in height down to the shortest plants being on the south side. So the sun basically hit it all day long. And we also want to make sure that we keep everything thinned out over time so we get plenty of air movement and keep everything nice and dry. So let's jump in. So now we're going to start getting ready to plant some plants. The whole day is all about let's get her done. The suggestion I saw was to actually take a ruler and mark out a grid in your raised bed, and some of them are like 4x4, so it'd be like 16. This one being only 2 deep would be a little simpler, but I don't have a ruler. Got a metal straight edge, we'll use that. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, the math works out. It's a 6-foot long tank. And then just going down the center would give us that 1x1 grid. Should we want to use that? We're going to try and throw in here as much of a mixed garden as we can. We're pushing the space a little bit. We'll see how that works this year and kind of go from there. I guess starting from the back, got some pole beans. We'll end up probably putting like a pole or a trellis or something up here just because that cattle grate doesn't go far enough. Then across the back we'll have 2 different cucumbers. Hopefully come up with some babies, so we'll make some dills. Then we end up having, we have 3 or 2 slicing tomatoes, and then at the end we've got like a cherry tomato-ish type thing, more like grape tomatoes. Coming back here, got a green bell pepper, red bell pepper, jalapeno. We have a sugar daddy, so they're like snap peas or whatnot. And then get a couple heads of lettuce going here, see how that goes. I'm gonna run, I think, 2 rows of beets right in here. They're really quick to harvest and they should be in and out pretty quick. And then somewhere in this area we'll figure out how to mix up some onions and carrots and some beets. And then what's going to end up trailing over the edge here, we've got a zucchini and then just a yellow summer squash. So we'll get these all in here and we'll see how this works. Well, here we are. We're fully planted, day 1. It was a fun project. I'm really excited to see the bounty. We get tomatoes to grow here and cukes, some peppers, and a little lettuce and carrots and stuff as well. I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be a fun experiment. So there you saw how easy it was to put that garden in, and a couple quick shots just to show the bounty we had throughout the season. And join us for the next video in this garden series where I just do a quick seasonal tour which shows the growing over the season and how the garden progressed. Now, as I promised, let's go through a couple of things that worked out really well this year and some things that probably didn't. Some of the vegetables that did really good was we got a lot of good tomatoes. It was also really fun to see how the lettuce grew throughout the whole season. We were able to get salads over a longer period of time versus a number of plants where once you pick it, you're done. The beans did really good, and what we really enjoyed were the summer squash and the zucchini. On the other hand, the cucumbers did not do as well as we'd hoped. We did get a bunch of cukes off of there, but not nearly the volume we'd hoped for. And we did have a lot less peppers, and the carrots and onions really didn't come through. I believe that was more of a crowding issue with those. 2 other things to look at are the beans did attract some Japanese beetles over the summer. They munched a bunch on the leaves, but really did not affect the harvest much. But next year I'll probably end up dusting for that a little early just to keep on top of it. And then the zucchini towards the end of the year, we ended up getting some powdery mildew on those. But they were at the end of the growing season. We'd already had a really successful year with those. We had a great time with this garden growing, and I can't wait to hear about the success you guys are having with yours. Again, if you did get value off this video, we would really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel and click the like button. And check out one of the other videos in this series, including the upcoming video we have on our garden tour.